This an arbitrage. We was trying not to be late, but we was late anyway. We're hoping you guys had a great Father's Day weekend.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
We know that the fathers don't get the love the mommies get.
Yeah. So hope everybody out there had a great Father's Day weekend. Nothing spectacular going on over here, but my older sons, did buy me a nice bottle of tequila. So we're showing, if I can show it, some Patron Cristiano. I guess that's how you say it.
Cristiano, yeah.
Cristiano.
Cristalino.
So Patron Cristiano and we all took a shot as men, and for them it was a little hot on the chest, but for me, I've been doing this for years. So
You
yes.
have to tell him. You have to tell them the Simon men tradition. I don't get involved, y'all.
Which is what?
What y'all do?
As far as taking a shot?
Yeah. Birthdays.
Yeah, we do it on birthdays. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birthdays. So we got to do it 5 times there. And even for the young one, but he don't take a shot, but we do one for him.
He gonna drink his little juice box or whatever.
And then
But he still cheers. He take his little juice box.
Yeah, then we do it on Father's Day, things like that. And so we had a good Father's Day. It was real quiet. They ate some food. I relaxed. Everybody relaxed. Got some stuff doing. Getting ready for this new week, right? So want to jump head first into this new week, right, with excitement.
Yes, and I hope you guys have been working on your sketching out your quarter 3 starting July 1st. Mm-hmm. Those goals, the things that you're thinking about getting done, your objectives.
Yeah, it's quarter 3. A very important quarter because
you can still bring it home.
Yeah, it's really what they like to say, the beginning of the second half, right? So quarter 1, quarter 2's over. It's halftime. This is the second half of the quarter, second half of the year, I should say. So you really like to finish the year strong if you can. And quarter 3 is so important because quarter 4 is really kind of truncated, shortened, right? All the holidays in quarter 4. Between Thanksgiving all the way up to the holidays, the Christmas time. And so a lot of stuff is shut down. A lot of places we know will stop doing things December 15th and won't even start again until what? Like that first Monday in January.
Like the 6th of January something crazy, or something ridiculous.
So quarter 3 is very important because quarter 4 is shortened. And it's hard to get a lot done. You really want to be coming in cruise mode on quarter 4 with everything that you have done through the first 3 quarters.
And really, I use quarter 4 to map out quarter 1 because, again, we like to start strong. Simon and I like to start strong. Quarter 2 and 4, they're like I call them our water quarters, and meaning that we can tread water during those 2 quarters. We start to swim real hard in January and in July, January 1st and July 1st. Yeah. But April 1st and October 1st, we can kind of tread water a little bit, float, and still get 4 times the things. We can get 4 years of things done in this one year.
In those quarters, you take assessment of what has been done when you were going hard in quarter 1 and what you want to see going forward. And so, like we always say, be stacking your stats, stacking your ounces, anything else to there. We'll start off easy till we get some people in the room. Let's start with the Bitcoin price. Still doing our little dance right here.
Bailamos con Bitcoin at 66,000. But for those of you who haven't checked the chart, we'll just show it to you real quick, fam.
That's a daily chart. You're seeing some volatility.
Well, just so they can see it for the day.
For the day, yeah. For the day, for the weekend. Some things going on over the weekend. So right here, you're looking at daily chart. Some dips right there. You see that sharp dip right there all the way down into 65s, right? So you could, that's a good time to stack some ounces if you had some cash on the sidelines. And just grab right there, and then it pop right back up for you, all the way back up to 66. So that would have been a good buy. I'm not saying trying to time the market, but if you're just sitting around, you got some cash on the sidelines, that would have been a good time to snag some up. Let's go to the 5-day. You see the 5-day, it doesn't look great, but like I said, we have a low time preference, so 5-day charts aren't really something we look at. Like we look at the 6-month chart. So the 6-month chart is what matters. You see, you go back here with low time preference, right? And then the year-to-date chart looks similar. Okay. So wow, that's a nice year-to-date chart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a 1-year chart. That 1-year chart, man, that's looking. So just like I said, if we just touch this, just touch it. This time last year, Bitcoin on June 17, 2023, Bitcoin was $26,506. That's what Bitcoin was this time 1 year ago. Right, Aaron?
Mm-hmm.
So low time preference, just 1 year low time preference. You got a double. You got over a double. Looks like in the past year, you got 151%.56 return in a past year. And that's what we want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about a little bit of that and using that strategically with some things that you may have with your employer, your career.
Baby, did you also want to do the article about 1989 and Gen Zers in 2022? I think that's pretty interesting.
You can't. I didn't read that. I don't think it was sitting.
It's not showing the data really well, which bothers me.
Yeah,
I don't want to trouble them.
Sometimes when they don't show the data, I might skip on it.
Okay, I can. Okay, let's skip it for now. But, and then maybe we can find an article with better data analysis. Okay. The analysis is great. It's the display of it that's bad.
Okay, no worries. Okay. So anyway, we're up 151% in 1 year. That's great. What kind of investment do you know that gives you that kind of return in only 1 year?
Certainly not a raise from work, y'all.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that for sure. So that's what we got going on the Bitcoin chart. I mean, the precious metals chart, oh my goodness, it'll put you to sleep. It's nothing going on. So just, it's worse than this. It's just trading sideways, which is okay. But this is a beautiful chart in my opinion. So, always we like to always have some sort of low time preference. And so 1 year you see that great return. Great return. So happy to see that. Happy to bring that to the people. There we go.
All right. We got Love Freedom Ring.
Yes, sir.
Hello, cousin. Yes, cousin Shango in his final form is here.
Yeah, I need that new
we have 17 cousins in the room. I don't think we need to wait till 25. It is Monday. It is the day after a great Father's Day weekend. And as a woman, I want to shout out the fathers for Father's Day, right? Black men, let's start knocking down these bad rhetoric, this bad narratives, all of the lies, okay? Black men are on record. This is statistically proven, okay? Mm-hmm. Pew Research, whoever you want to check, start there, that Black men are the most active, involved fathers in the households. Let me say that again. The mother of 4 children. Black men are the most involved fathers. They're the most active of any demographic. Okay? So let's give the credit where credit is due. Y'all know cousin Shango stay with them babies, y'all. But as far as my husband, right, I'm going to give flowers. We're going to do a Nori style. I don't have nothing to drink, but we're going to give you your flowers. Simon has been helping me with bottle feedings, breast pumpings, bed rest.
Back in the day.
He has delivered every single child that has come from my body. So, just understanding how detailed and involved. Cut the umbilical cord, make sure I didn't die. I almost died with the last baby, and he was all over that. Y'all ain't gonna leave me with 3 small children and a new baby, right? He helped, the crash team figure out what was going on with me, and changed my life, but saved my life a couple times. Spider-Man in Family Matters, Family Guy. He says you only get one. I got like 12. I almost killed myself a minute ago in this chair. He had to catch me. Cousin Shane go, you know I'm gonna shout you out. He said, I can't stand the thought of any other dude being able to say raise my kids. Simon's like that. Right? Simon's like that. He doesn't even like when bad advice is given. And Sean is an adult now, so everybody wanna pipe in now that he's all raised and cultured and got some sense about him. Now they wanna like put their 2 cents in.
Yeah, here we go.
And when he gets bad advice, that it troubles him. And Sean's a lot like his father, right? Very much like his father. So he's a lot of times he's well adapted to it, but when he's not sure, first thing he does is he goes to his dad. Him and his dad have a very good relationship. All of the kids do, but it's just that Sean's like a man and he don't have to come to us. Yeah. So it's nice that he go right to his father when something don't feel right, something don't seem right. Or sometimes he just plain want to know, what we think. He comes to me for all the spiritual stuff. Oh. I think Sean is secretly a Hebrew Israelite, but that's okay. I love it. They have really good talking points. He's grown a lot from their tutelage, but
shout out to Captain Tazariak, man.
Yes, he is like heavy on the Hebrew. I'm like, baby, I gotta get you in the New Testament. I'm gonna get there, mom. Let me just finish this. Yeah. So I gotta get the baby into the New Testament. The law. Cousin T will line. That's a double-edged sword. Some will use that to say because other demographics are out working while the baby mothers are at home, but I'll take the good press. Oh, I know what you're saying. He mean to say like the daddy ain't doing shit, so he at home anyway. I got you. T will line be crazy with his comments. He's doing something. You gotta do something, right? But still, right?
Bring some value.
Just so you know,
bring some value.
It's because the rhetoric isn't out there like that for our counterpart demographic, but it's a lot of them hooked on drugs, not working, eating off of women. They have the same. Tommy Loren, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tommy Loren, if you guys are familiar with her, she had a hell of a rant about this.
Tommy Loren, that's the white
Tommy
lady?
Loren, yes.
Okay.
She had a hell of a rant about this. Kevin Samuels had played it. I think he still had it or he kept it or whatever. They made her, not only did they make her apologize, but they scrubbed it because it's not good for the culture. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need to kind of understand, that we need to have certain conversations, but that's the type of PR and marketing we need. It was Fox, whatever platform.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Was promoting her. I don't want to speak out of school, but whatever platform was promoting her, because she went on a rant. She was telling the truth. She said, "You guys don't know that this is prevalent with us, and we have money, right? Let's talk about the broke asses." But that they do the same thing to the women, right? They want to see what they can get out of them, and this and that. It's the same rhetoric. It's just that they're not allowed to put it on blast, and they're not allowed to eviscerate one another on platforms. They don't give them platforms to do that. Mm-mm. They pay us to do that.
Right.
So, Cousin Shango said that to her. Yeah, I think my baby's a Hebrew Israelite. He hasn't confessed it yet, but I got to get him into the New Testament. How about it's quality, not quantity? If you know, you know. Hey, if you know, you know. I love when you join the conversation. You always have good talking points. But I do want to put that out there because I, for myself, have experienced that. He was not scared to do anything. I'll never forget it. When Sean was born, you had just got the takeover because that was September. Oh, and then I remember that was when Sean was born. You didn't get
no. Sean wasn't born yet. He wasn't born yet, but I don't know.
But you wasn't listening to Stillmatic then, was you? Did it come out already?
Yeah, it came out a few days after.
Because I have pictures of you with the headphones on.
Yeah, I have my.
So Sean used to always listen to music. I bought him this one. We lived in the north. I bought him this big, huge boom box and 6-disc burner. That was back in the days when we used to burn CDs and stuff. So he used to always listen to music and stuff. And when we had the baby, he was like, "What am I gonna do?" I said, I don't know, baby, get some headphones. So he went and got these headphones, longest cord I ever seen, stretched from one room to the other. And he would hold the baby like a little football. And he would just sit there and look at him and be like, I made this. So I, for myself, have gotten to experience a very involved father. Here's another thing I'm going to share with y'all. For the last 7 years, every single morsel of food that went into our children's bodies, we were financially responsible for. There's no school. There's no after school program. There's no
go to your aunt, your uncle, your
right. There's no extended family here. We're here in Mexico. We were financially responsible for every single morsel of food that those children ate. That's a hell of a responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? You would be shocked at how many meals you're not on the hook for in the United States when the children are involved in the school system and sports and this and that and the third. Even with basketball, we end up taking the freaking Gatorades to the kids, right, and their teammates. I bought a liter of ice cold Gatorade for Reggie's tournament. Tournament is hot as hell outside. Tournament Saturday. And even after he drank some of it, somebody straight took that. Yeah. Because we didn't remember to buy the 6-pack for the team. And I don't know if it was one of his teammates. I doubt it. I would imagine it's one of the other teams or whatever, lurking around. But, we do a lot for our children. We are conscientiously involved in their parenting and the decisions that we make. We are those parents that when we realize we are wrong, we apologize. I don't play that, right? I am not a classic Black mama. No. I grew up watching June Cleaver, and while I don't want to give too much flowers to, she came in for the white lady, I tell you what, I loved her parenting style as a very young girl. I said, I'm going to be that kind of mom when I grow up. I'm going to talk to my children in a certain way. I'm going to wear an apron. Not to say that my mom was mean, but she's West Indian, and they just have their way about them. And I don't like that way. And I wasn't going to do that with my sons. Simon had a similar anecdotal, like we're going to do stuff a little bit different when we have our children.
Yeah.
And we did. We talked to our children in a way we pour life into them. Do we discipline them? Hell yeah, we discipline them. I don't believe in whooping them. I can't think of a thing that children do that we need to whoop them. And I think that if you parent in a very responsible way, you don't have to. They be scared. If he raises his voice, kids is crying. Older kids is crying. Wife crying. You raise your voice. It's too much. So, hey, we have a new cousin named The One. I like it. You're not late. We're always late, The One. So you'll never be late. Trust me. My in-laws say I'm too clingy with my kids. People say that about us. I kind of got sick of it and told them, look at how much my kids love me versus how much y'all's don't. It's a little below the belt, but it is. And we spend we have to, we're our own tribe.
Yeah.
But it's very conscientious. And Sean and Reginald and Junior Sean has a job, but he doesn't make a lot of money. I mean, we backfill the hell out of him. But they walked all over. They went to 4 liquor stores? Mm-hmm. Because Sean had it in his mind that this was the best tequila. I don't know. He doesn't know much about. Good, but he thought this is top of the line tequila, and he blew his whole paycheck to show his father that that's what he means. Yeah. So he said, I'm not new. My name changed. Oh, it's Todd. Hey. Okay, I got you. He got a new handle.
Oh, okay.
It's Cousin Todd. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
But when y'all come in with new handles, you got to lead with that. Yeah, you got to lead with that. But Cousin Todd, I'm so happy to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. ¿Qué pasó? Like, what's up? What's going on? What's happening? We are going to get started because we do have 25 cousins in the room.
Okay.
First and foremost, we want to talk about, because we are heading into quarter 3. on July 1st, and we are, Cousin Shango, when you're not in your final form. I know it now, though, when I see it, when you're not in your final form. But that's why I always introduce you when you're in your final form. But we want to talk about, since quarter 3 is coming up, July 1st, one of the main goals that should be on your quarter 3 goals should be financial, for sure. And just in a way to keep up with this, what I would like to call a runaway economy. Baby's lost in thought.
I'm just thinking about what you said there. Runaway economy. So tell me more when you say that.
I feel like stuff is getting more expensive faster than people can catch up. So it's like running away with, and I'm talking about cost of living. The actual cost to just live.
Yeah, so the CPI, Consumer Price Index, will give you some numbers, some false numbers, because they don't include everything. One of the main things they don't include is the cost of rent, rent/mortgage. They don't include that. And why? Because a lot of people, that's their biggest expense. So you're going to take the public's biggest expense and not include it into the CPI, and then give us a number of what inflation is and think that that's accurate, and think that we're going to think that that's accurate, right? So, Michael Saylor says he believes inflation is 20% and above. And I agree with him. They'll try to give you some numbers now. What are they giving you now? 8 or 9%, which is higher what they're trying to give you 3 to 5%. And people wasn't having it. Like, no way inflation is 3 to 5%. So now it's 8 to 9%. 8 to 9%, right? So this is what we want to talk about. Having a plan for your money, being strategic, right? Because obviously most people's raises at their jobs are not going to keep up with even 8 to 9%.
They ain't gonna try.
Let alone 20%, what it really is.
They're gonna hand you 20% more work, but
yeah, nobody's getting a 20% raise. Not people, not the majority of the employees. Somebody might get a nice bonus here and there. Some higher level, once you start hitting that executive, start going up that level, right? You may get a bonus.
But even the bonuses, they're pulling back. They're changing the metrics or matrices, because it's plural, for how people can receive their bonuses. And this is like across the board, right? Because companies are looking for ways to save. They're looking for ways to save on salary, on compensation, and benefits. They're looking ways to save. If we don't have to give you that bonus and we can keep that, they're going to do that. They'll change the matrices or take the bonus away altogether. Hiring freezes, right? Because the budget doesn't allow right now. We have to put the rec out. We have to report for the jobs report, but we're not taking anybody right now. Those kind of things. And then the actual layoffs, where they want to take back the salaries and the compensation and benefits that they put out, especially for highly skilled employees. What a lot of companies are willing to do is, for the people who are left, put the workload on them at no extra pay, and then maybe hire two for less than what they would have paid that highly skilled individual, much younger. So there's a lot more return of investment as far as time goes within the organization. And we can get 2 extra people for less than the price of 1 skilled employee. And just understand that most employees who go to work do want to do well. So they will learn it along the way. They will, and the bottom line doesn't suffer due to lack of experience or talent, because I mean, for the most part, a lot of the young people are very technologically inclined. Whether you work in tech or not, you're technologically inclined and can do all of the things that help make your job more efficient and proficient. So
yeah, and they play a dirty little game that I've seen in my own time, and I see, because I keep an eye on what's going on out here in the private sector, right?
Okay.
And so they play a dirty little game. And here's the dirty little game, and you guys are probably familiar with it. The little game is they threaten, like she say, layoffs, and so once they threaten layoffs, it gives you this this feeling of, I'm glad I at least still have my job. Yes. And so then now they don't have to give you the raise that they should give you because you're happy just to have not been laid off.
And what we like to call that in the professional world is reframing.
Yeah.
They reframed you in a way without having to actually shell out the actual compensation.
Right.
So they're getting the same result
right.
in a psychological way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Science.
It's science. You'll work even harder with
Yes, you're going to work even harder, right? Like, I don't even want to be considered for the next round. So I'm going to turn it up a notch. And I'm not going to lie, I'm guilty of that, right? Great job. It's a career. It's flexible. Great pay. Mostly great benefits. We don't have the benefits that other tech firms do, but you're like, well, thank God I have some benefits. You start that. But it is a significant way for us to be able to invest and create legacy for the children. So I don't knock it, baby. Can't knock the hustle.
Yeah. So, and I hear a lot of people, you don't go around just asking people, how much you make or how much your raise was. But people will just kind of tell you, just
in anger.
Right? So they'll tell you, and you'll get a sense of what's really going on.
In anger.
And I say, dang, that's messed up as far as that goes when people get 2% raises and stuff like that. And you see the cost of living is 20%, right? You can't, year over year, you can't keep up, right? You cannot keep up with a 2-3% raise and the cost of living is going up 20%, 15%. You can't keep up. You'll just, and with the way that the dollar is losing value, it's a double. I mean, you're just losing on both ends, right?
Yep.
So this is where Bitcoin comes in. It's an important factor because, and we've talked about this all the time. You want to keep your money in Bitcoin, your fiat currency in Bitcoin, not just hanging around in your checking account,
dwindling away.
Or if you're one of those old school people who like to take out your cash, have it at the house, that's a good idea to have some cash on hand at the home. But not like I'm gonna just take
not in the idea of saving.
Yeah, so you're getting nothing there.
Right, the emergency cash fund is different than squirreling the money away to save it.
Yeah, and so you want to use Bitcoin strategically. So say you get the 3% raise, and we talk about this all the time. If you have one of those employer match programs, which people should be taking advantage of to the highest level if possible, if you can. Match up as high as your employer is willing to match. Somewhat what goes 6, 8, 10%, right, on the match. So that's free money. I mean, you're still working, but that's money that they're putting in to match your money. So take advantage of that. And also, when you have like something like a small raise like that, if you have a plan for it, and you can plan this out year over year, if you've been working somewhere, for a long period of time, you can stay in front of it, right? And you can say, okay, well, I'm going to take this portion of my raise and it's going strictly towards Bitcoin, right? This isn't financial advice, but I'm just saying, you say, all right, I got a 4% raise, I'm taking 3% of this raise and it's going straight towards Bitcoin. And we just talked about over 1 year, you get over 150% return.
Right. And
so what does that turn that raise into?
Right. It's a way for you to have control over your own economic policies. I want to welcome, we have 2 new cousins to the room.
What's up, cousin?
We have Adam Bailey. Hey, cousin Adam, and cousin Penelope. She said, beautiful family. Cousin Adam put a window, so I'm not sure. Are you just looking, you browsing? I'm not sure what the window means. If that is a window, it looks like a window. And then he gave us the prayer hands. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. There are 29 cousins at the round table. Cousin Shango was talking as co-parent about gas prices just before they skyrocketed from $3.50 to $7.
Whoa.
He said it's going to drop to $4 and people are going to run around saying, thank Biden, right? It did. And then it did. And they were happy for the $4. And it's like nobody remembers that the prices were actually $3, $3.50. Let freedom ring. We need a Bitcoin economy. They will not ever do that, honey. Never do that.
That would be sweet.
OC Benji, hey cousin, thank you so much for joining.
Hey, what's up?
I don't know if cousin Adam's laughing because I thought it was a window. I'm not sure if it's a window, but he's going to give some clarification here shortly, I hope. So cousin Todd, the one, said he's a disabled veteran whose primary income is the VA benefits. And technically not allowed to invest in any IRA because it ain't considered income. We're well aware of that little disclosure. So yes, the crypto route will need to replace IRA, but you have to find your own way. The government and when I say the government, I'm going back to antiquity, right? The representation. Even God in the Bible said you don't want a king, right? Y'all read 1 Samuel. You don't want a king. You do not want a man to be over you. God even talks about it in 1 Samuel. It's a bad idea. But that's what the people wanted. So as far as antiquity goes, you have to remember that these governments or these kingdoms or whatever it is you want to call them, because it's the same spirit, it's just evolving into whatever the time is, right?
Okay.
They have their own self-interest, and their self-interest is not to represent you. That's a byproduct of whatever it is that they decided they were going to do with their position and their power, and they don't even hide it. They used to hide it a long time ago. They don't even hide it. And back in the days of kingdoms, they surely didn't hide it, right? They were in charge. They had all the say. They did whatever they wanted to do. There was meat, as they would say at the king's table, while the peasants begged for bread. There was even a story in the Bible where this local economy was so bad. I want to say it was Judah, but I don't want to speak out of school. But the local economy was so bad that the king was kind of riding through his land or whatever. And this lady stopped him and she's like, I want you to put this woman in jail. And he said, well, why? What did she do? She said, well, the agreement was we would cook and eat my son tonight. And the next night we would cook and eat her son. Well, I kept my end of the bargain and she went and hid her son. And the king had no idea that the economy had gotten so bad that people were eating each other. Right? This is Chronicles. And not saying that our economy would get that bad. It's really not that far-fetched, to be honest. But we notice that the rhetoric is that the people want the government to do something. You ever notice, like, when something go down, what's the government going to do? What's President Biden going to do? What's Kamala going to do? You know, we're asking freaking rappers what they think. I don't know why. You know about politics. You know, what does 50 Cent think? What does Ja Rule think? Right? Let's ask Nas. It's like, so we have to take some type of sovereignty in the thing that was discovered for us, which is Bitcoin, which allows us to have that type of, in a sense, economic sovereignty. If your employer won't give you, notice the verbiage, if they won't give you a raise, then you create one using Bitcoin. If the economy won't give you a break, right, then you create your own break utilizing Bitcoin and its gains. Right? Where there's inflationary, you now have a deflationary tool to help you create the resolution, because it has the ability to solve problems, but right now, not yet. Right? People don't have enough of it to solve a problem.
Okay.
But it's absolutely a tool that can resolve many of your problems. So we have a tool that helps us to resolve inflationary problems because it in itself is deflationary. It's just that we have to relearn that low time preference. We have to relearn delayed gratification. Yes, we have to relearn patience is a virtue. It's one of the virtues. And what they've done is they've conditioned the people to be a microwave society to come away from the virtue of patience. In patience, there are gains. And that's what people are forgetting or no longer know. It's not a part of their collective consciousness anymore. I come from a long line of women who like to read the universe. So, you know, those are things that my grandmother had instilled in me from a child. Patience is a virtue, but with patience comes gains, and not just monetary. Right? Spiritual, physical, emotional, whatever you can think of in that portfolio. Gains. With patience comes significant gains. Go ahead, babes.
Okay, I didn't know if you had to read.
I'm gonna, because they're funny.
Okay, yeah.
So, cousin Adam says supposed to be a picture, but got framed into a window. Oh, okay, I got you. It got framed into a window. That's why he's laughing. I was like, I don't know what it is. Cousin Shango want to know where Ja is now. Y'all remember that for September 11th? He was asking Ja Rule what he thought. Cousin Shango says, I need Ja Rule to tell me what to do. Right. Cousin Shango said, man, I missed the Chappelle show. Cousin Todd, the one, said, yep, I'm flipping into cryptos, real estate, legal residency, citizenships. The inflationary, deflationary concept is bars. It is.
Yep. Yes, it is. And that's good, too, because you gotta be strategic in this world that we live in. Like she said, it's a runaway economy. Things are moving fast. So you got to be prepared, and you got to see, how it is that you want to make your moves and what direction you want to go in. And this is why we always talk about having, these plans. You work in short bursts, like 12-week years,
yes,
right? Where you'll get 4 years out of 1 year.
Yes.
That's a short burst.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
it's a focus burst.
Focus burst. I like that. Focus burst. And also, you want to focus on things like 5 and 10-year plans just immediately up front. You should have longer plans than that, but have a 5-year plan wrapped into 12-week years really gives you a 20-year plan if you're working it that way.
I agree.
So you get 20 years of things done in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you can set up like, okay, this is what I want to have done by, 2029, 2030 area. And you just work towards that diligently.
And that's a way for you to be inflationary in productivity, mm-hmm. right? Where the world, when you look at that, like they're inflationary with that money, right? Yeah. But they're deflationary when it comes to productivity. They're always trying to find ways to distract you, bread and circus, so on and so forth. Yeah. But that's a way for you to be, in a sense, inflationary, that exponential stride. I would piggyback to what you're saying, but I personally have the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, mm-hmm. right? Just because for some people, especially when you're not used to doing the 12-week year, they can't see that far. Like 5 years is far for them to see for some people, especially when they're not used to planning like that.
It's going to be compounded
in
20 years.
Right. So you definitely always want to say, I don't even say a year. I tell people, especially when they're starting, 12 months, because 12 months sounds a lot less than 1 year, right? You broke the unit down a little bit smaller, so it feels more
attainable or something?
Attainable, okay. Right? So 12-month plan. Right. And then I say 36-month plan, right? Mm-hmm. 60-month plan. That feels big, whether it's 60 months or 5 years, it feels big. So just to kind of get you guys going, but absolutely start with the quarter. That's where everybody should start. On July 1st, these are my objectives. I'm going to touch a financial objective, a spiritual objective, personal development objective, professional development objective. Did I say physical?
Physical or health objective?
Physical or health related. And I would say you can do spiritual and emotional, but I would separate the two. Something that's good for your energetic body, whether it's something you enjoy, some type of self-care or something like that.
And that's just an outline, you add whatever objectives that
work best for you. And leave out the ones that you're like, I'm good in this area. Mm-hmm. I don't have any objectives for it. Yeah. But for people who are starting, it's a great outline to begin with.
Yeah.
Simon was talking, this article has some very interesting things. We're not going to read the whole article. I just want a major point. So they had 2 groups that they measured. One group was from 1989 of young people, and the other group was young people from 2022. And here it's talking about housing. Housing went up over 160% between 1989 and 2022. Mm. And what young adults spending for own dwellings is up over 120% before adjusting 1989 expenditures for inflation. So it was already up for them. It was up even more for the Gen Zers. And we're noticing that Gen Zers are not running to banks for a 30-year mortgage. They're just not. We're in 1989. Typically, young people who graduated from college, that was one of the first, it was one of those benchmarks of life. It was a milestone to get your starter house. And I was telling Simon earlier today, imagine that back in those days, people got a starter house, sold it, flipped it, and then bought like whether it's their forever home or their upgrade or whatever you want to call it or frame it. Yeah. Most people, and I don't want to say most people, but the homeowners back in the day started off with a starter home. Yeah. And today, a starter home can be over $1 million.
Yeah, it depends on where you live at. And those days of getting a starter home, I mean, middle America, you can still get starter homes, but it's typically, because of the way things are set up, it's not in a place that people typically would prefer to live.
There's that too.
And where work is at. I know a lot of people work from home, but there's still
a lot of on-site requirements and so for most people.
Some of these small places, like everybody wants to go to a place like, I watched a great documentary on Wyoming and how many people are there as opposed to how much land there is. And there's just not anything out there.
Right, there's no booming economy there. You know what economy actually shocked me?
What's that?
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it's booming.
I was shocked at how booming and bustling Oklahoma City's economy is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of their pay scale equivalencies, they're pretty decent. Yeah, they're pretty decent. So Cousin Todd wants us to go a little bit more into the 12-week year. I think it's a good idea to pause here and go into that for him. Okay. And any other cousin who is interested. Cousin John Mitchell, thank you so much for joining. Cousin John.
That's a new name.
Yes. But he said, I'm going to have to get back on the 12-week year. So I'm glad it's a cousin that does participate in the 12-week year plan.
Well, let's give a quick outline.
So Todd, there's a great book called The 12-Week Year. I cannot remember the guy's name right now. It'll come to me. And the concept is, each quarter has 12 weeks, right? So each week represents a month. So in that week, whatever your objectives, your goals and stuff are, you're technically accomplishing 1 month of objectives in 1 week. Mm-hmm. Now, for the high achievers, we actually do what we call 13 weeks, right? So you got your cheat week. And that 13th week is there to cushion you because over the course of the quarter, right, the days, you're going to lose something here, you're going to lose something there. I didn't get a chance to do this. I ended up not feeling well. You cousins know, y'all know I have seizures, and sometimes that may knock me out for a day or 2 days, which is one of the reasons why Simon and I, we go hard, right? Because I'll lose a whole day, maybe 2, maybe 3, just depending on how bad they are. Mm-hmm. But that 13th week is there to cushion you, to kind of tie up the loose ends on the things that you didn't get to do. They have great planners to help you stay focused and be on track. They help you benchmark your progress, right? See where you started, see where you are, and help guide you to where you would like to be. Hey, Cousin Mo, thank you so much for joining.
Hey, what's up, Cousin Mo?
And we're not sponsored by them. It's a resource, a tool that Simon and I use. Yeah. It's called the Clever Fox Planner. And they have it's 13-week planner. And it helps us. It keeps us on task. It keeps us on target. I don't have it down here. We're downstairs today because we had some meetings and stuff. But this is my professional planner. So it's got a great ability to, this is what our days look like, Simon and I.
Yeah, we just write them out, and you get to
I even have to draft stuff so I can incorporate it. This is for today.
And it's really about, productivity. I mean, the most thing, productivity, and you can track your productivity. And also on top of your productivity, you can add efficiency to it as you go over the different 12 weeks. Like, okay, I can get more efficient here.
Yes.
Cut down some time, and also, it helps you as if you have a family or something like that, it helps you free up time.
Yes.
As you get more efficient, but you are productive at the same time. And so, we right now, we get up at 3:30 in the morning, in between 3:30 and what, 4:30?
3:30 and 4:30. Any day we get up before 4:30 counts. Yeah. So within the 12-week year, you need to focus on developing habits. Yeah. And we call them foundational habit building. And the habits help you to build the muscle memory in order to achieve your objectives. So productivity is nothing without time management. You're wasting your time in productivity if your time management is lacking. So one of the main habits, and the Clever Fox Planner has an area where they ask you what habits, I'm gonna see if you can zero in, what habits you want or skills you want to build on. Mm-hmm. And get up early is one of them, and they have the 5 days, and you check off every day that you made that goal. Hydration. Simon and I are heavy water drinkers. Him more fire water than earth water.
That's what they say. Water.
Yes, you're 6 Sigma in your life. So that's Todd said, like 6 Sigma. You're absolutely 6 Sigma in your life. But time management is a habit you need to build. I tell you guys all the time, cousins, you have to incorporate reading into your habit building, mm-hmm. right? Whether it's a productivity book, fiction, it could even be, fantasy and fiction. Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is, but it's good for the neural pathways in your brain. It's good for the way you process information. It's good for you to read in between the lines. It's good for you to forecast that which has not been stated, but you can see it coming. You can see the writing on the wall. So that's a habit you want to build. For those of you who know your time management is shit, they tell you that colored people time. I don't like that rhetoric because my mother and father were extremely prompt. Simon is extremely prompt. My father-in-law was extremely prompt.
Yeah, we was on time.
I've never known even family members to be, you got one person I can name that's late all the time, but most of the people that I've known are always on time, if not early. We're military. So you definitely want to do what I call a time audit. And you want to see, what time do you get up every day? Do you get up at the same time? What do you typically do during the day, right? So when you get up, are you on Facebook for 30 minutes? Are you on Facebook for 3 hours? You just laying in the bed from 4 to 7 a.m. scrolling through Facebook. Yes, you got up early, but you weren't productive. Mm-hmm. So these are some of the things that you want to examine and take a look at and tweak and work on. Before we move on, I do want to tell you that there is a statistic that psychologists have been promoting, or not promoting, but sharing. They've been sharing that the average person will have spent up to 20 years of their lifetime scrolling social media. And if you want your 20 years back, just be aware of that. Just acknowledge that this is one of the habits that I'm about to build. I haven't been very active on Facebook because I noticed that if I go to Facebook to do one thing, now I'm on there showing Simon this new hairstyle. So, and we're extremely, military prompt. We're like a Swiss watch, right? But even, every so often we do say, oh yeah, we got to tighten this up. We got to tighten that up. Cousin Shango say usually has a nose in a macroeconomic or sci-fi novel. I be cheesing when I read me some Broken Money by Linda Alden. We know that's Simon's book. It's probably his book of the quarter. Right now, though, you're reading
book of the 12-week year,
Mental Mathematics.
Well, starting on that
by Dr. Nuri Muhammad.
Yeah, I forget. It's a different title, but it's about mental mathematics. So Dr. Nuri Muhammad, if you are familiar with him, he is the student minister of Minister Louis Farrakhan. Yes. So that's who he came up under. And he's dropping jewels. Like I said in the last show, I'm not a person, I'm not NOI, but I am a person who believes that you can learn something from everybody. And they
Absolutely,
do have good
stuff.
They do have good things as far as discipline.
Be legit.
And stuff like that, they're on top of the game as far as discipline, and then they don't play around, discipline with that diet, discipline with they
lifestyle
consume, like you say, lifestyle consume with they intake.
Yeah.
And so
cousin T. Willine had a funny comment when we brought it up last time. I don't know if he's gonna write it.
Okay.
I can't remember what he said, but it did have something to do with the discipline being so tight.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. So, yeah, but it gets results. It gives results, and so yeah, Dr. Nuri Muhammad, that's a good read. And if you catch him on YouTube, it's some of his interviews and stuff. They're good to watch. He is one I am a fan of.
Yeah, and if you guys don't want to read novels or books or anything like that, a great thing for you to do or a great strategy for you to have is to create a watch list on your phone, right, on Google with articles to whatever subjects or genres resonate with you. For us, our watch list is mostly Bitcoin, microeconomics, the local economy.
Yes.
Precious metals. So that's our watch list in addition to the productivity books we read. I try to read a book a month. I typically read about 3 books a month because they're short reads. And I do my notes and then I add some type of implementation action plan in order to get something from the books. I tell you guys this all the time. Amazon, for you Prime members, and I know all of you probably have Amazon Prime, you are paying into an excellent program called Kindle Unlimited. You have free access. It is your digital library. You can check out up to, I want to say 10 or 20 books at a time
Yes.
in any genre you want to, and it costs you $0.00. I am going to ask, and you can probably get that audiobook for free, cousin. And I'm going to ask, I am a published author. I have published 4 books. Simon and I are working on 5th published work.
There we are.
And as an author, the time that they spend in research and information and presenting it to you and editing it and revisioning and so on and so forth, if you take the book out for free, read it all the way through. That's the only way they get paid for you to have free access to the book. So if you guys are taking books out, checking out books on Amazon Prime, please read the book all the way through. If you find a book and you're like, I'm not feeling this, please at least flip all the way through to the end so that the marquee says 100% read and that author can get some type of compensation for their work. I think that's very important to support people in that capacity when you're getting a free resource.
Okay. I agree. I definitely agree.
So we talked about reading habit. It could be articles, don't have to be novels.
Yeah.
Time management, health, right? You can't do any type of productivity if your health is not in order. So that should be a mandatory on everybody's list, whether it's water, raw fruit with seeds in it, vegetable with seeds in it, whatever your objective is, you should definitely incorporate that. For some people, it's I'm actually going to do the vitamin supplements or whatever. I'm going to add colloidal silver to my objective.
Yeah, shout out to Billy Carson.
I like him though. So definitely be working on your 12-week year. If any other cousin wants a bit more information and you want to do a quick FaceTime, we don't charge when we talk to you guys, but if you want to dig a little bit deeper and you need help getting your Q3 sketched out or outlined out, you guys can email me and Simon and I will set up a FaceTime with you and we'll help you get going in the direction that you envision.
Especially because the Q3 is so important.
Yeah,
so,
free of charge, right?
Q3
no
is a
fees.
big one. It's a big one.
Simon Family Investment Ventures will never sell you anything. We do have a book coming out, which you guys will be free to buy, but we will never sell you our time or anything like that. So I just want you, especially if you get messages from us and stuff like that, we don't. That's not what we do. We'll never present you an MLM or anything like that. That's not how we get down.
That's not going
and what we want to do is empower you to have the information and the resource for free so that you don't get entangled with the MLMers, scammers, and people who are trying to exploit you some which way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you got to, because, I don't want to go too far off of the subject, but I don't know how new people are in this space and whatnot, but so many people have come into the space that you have to, if you're not a Bitcoin OG,
you gotta vet them.
You gotta vet everybody. Now we've been in the game, so we know the names that we've seen around for years and years and years. So we know when you see somebody that, that's an OG that's been around since 2015.
And we have a relationship with a lot of them. So.
Yeah, so and then you just see some Johnny come latelys, and it's like, man, who is this person talking, all this big stuff, and we ain't never heard of you in the build up. So there's some OGs, some OGs sitting on a whole bunch of Bitcoin. Those OGs because they make OG moves.
And two, you should also be wary of people who like to flex, right? If they're showing you yachts and Lambos and this, and if you do this, you can live like me and be like me and so on and so forth. You got to remember the internet is still a box of ethereal people, right? Yeah, you don't know who that is for real. So you definitely want to just kind of keep that in the mind. Some people, because we have the videos and stuff like that, you can put out any persona you want on the video.
Yeah, you can.
And on social media and stuff. And sometimes that entangles people. And then you hear the shout, as my mom would say, it's the same we have in Guyana. When you hear the shout, that person is not anything that they said or do. You want to make sure that the proof is in the pudding. And a lot of that is listening to what they say.
Listening to what they say and seeing what they do, right?
And how they live.
People charge you ridiculous amounts of money to come with. I'll show you how to invest.
I'll show you how to trade. I'll show you how to buy. I will. You pay me to teach you how to buy Bitcoin, or you can buy Bitcoin from me. And it's like, no, we can't, ma'am.
Yeah, and it's just like you got people like Michael Saylor, who is
a rocket scientist.
Rocket scientist. And he'll give you all the free information that you need.
Hours of it. Lynn Alden gives away hours. She even has a free newsletter, Cousin Shango. I don't know if you know that.
Every 6 weeks.
And
that thing is comprehensive.
But you can pay for a more detailed newsletter, and you know how detailed she is. Yeah. So one of the things that the cousins always say about us is the authenticity, right? We're extremely transparent. You can go on, my Facebook isn't a professional Facebook. You go on there and do your research, see who we are, where we live, how we live, the things that we do. But you also recognize game in the things that we say. Okay. We do 2-hour shows 3 times a week. When people are lying, the more they talk, the more the truth comes tumbling out of their mouth.
This is true.
Good, bad, or indifferent. But just keep that in mind, especially when people are soliciting some type of financial gain from you, some type of financial exploitation from you. Because the Shango said, I was on it, the newsletter. That's his girlfriend.
Yeah, that newsletter is off the chain.
Yeah, we get it, and we sit and we go through it, we talk about
it. And, her information is off the chain. Yeah, like you said.
She is very good at what she does. And we often talk about mastery. Lynn Alden's mastery in finance is
macroeconomics is
unprecedented. Really.
So with people like her in the space, that's somebody, that's vetted out. You could go. She's not on YouTube as much as most other people.
Man, they give her a hard time though.
When she get on there, she's dropping some gems. She got some great interviews.
Because I think she would be a lot more visible and give a lot more information if they weren't so asshole-ish in the comments.
And so, somebody like her, she's an OG. If you're looking for OGs in the Black community, this network is a good place to find some OGs, some old school cats who've been here for a while. And not just jumping on something, man, because I see so many people just jumping on stuff, and you just, even if you give them a chance just to talk to them, and they don't even know the basic things when you ask them certain questions, they don't have answers for it.
It's I said, the more they talk, the more the truth comes tumbling out. And you don't do this for real. You're regurgitating points, which you've heard. The other thing, and this is the last of the little rant, is I'm a published writer, so I'm heavy on cite your source. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. Meaning, if you heard somebody else say something that resonated, was deep, it was profound, don't steal their talking point for your platform. You guys know I often say, even if I can't remember the content creator, I'll say, I was watching Facebook and it was a young lady, forgive me if I don't know her name. And then I will, right? So it doesn't sound like Aaron's coming up with all these profound sayings and things. And, I read this in an article and here's the article, right? So that plagiarism is deep and heavy in social media. And I wish that was something that would stop.
Right.
You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I think another thing is it's okay to say, I don't know. There are a lot of aspects and areas of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, projects, altcoins that I'm not familiar with. We cannot be all encompassing. My genius isn't all encompassing. So it's okay to say, no, you know what? I'm not familiar with that DeFi project. Tell me more. Instead of like, I know all about that. And then when people are trying to have a civil discussion with you or maybe pick your brain about it,
you don't know.
You can't speak intelligently on the subject matter. So just these little tidbits. But let's get back to the economy. He said, I rap with her on no shoes, respectfully. That's funny.
Yeah, right.
So talking about Lynn Alden.
Oh.
So we want to talk about, in addition to the trouble we have with raises, we understand in a very inflationary economy, we have a great deflationary tool that we want to utilize. And what we want to do is help you reframe how you can get the raises and the gains you deserve. We are not financial advisors. We do not give financial advice, but just understand that you have a tool that would allow you to create your own economic policy in your household, in your domain.
This is true. And I agree with you on that. And how would you like to say that they employ this or deploy it?
Well, one, it should be one of your objectives for quarter three. For those of you who don't even get a raise, because that's just either your company is not doing that, maybe it's the way you get paid. I don't know if hourly employees automatically get raises. I'm not sure how that works. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. But maybe you want to create a raise for yourself and say, quarter three, I'm going to put X number of dollars away in order to try to gain. And you want to benchmark it at least X percent of gains. Two, if you have access to an employee match 401k program, you absolutely want to participate in that program. It's free money, right? Your employer is saying, if you do this, we're to match at 3% or 5% or 7%, depending on where you are and what company you're in and what level you're at. But it's funny because Fidelity sent me an email today to my work email, and they have this workshop. And the workshop is for people who are not maxing it all the way out. This is what I got audited for. And I mean, I'm doing like 15%. I don't know how much more you want me to max.
Yeah, max is the max is real.
Or people who are not participating. And typically it's because they're just like, I know we have it, but I don't know what it is. So you want to really call them, right? Pick up your phone. You get to talk to a human being and ask, how can I get started? If you don't have a program like that, maybe you contact I Trust Capital and ask them, hey, I am X number of years old. I'm trying to get started with something for my retirement. Can you help me? They are financial advisors. They can give you financial advice, and they can lead you in the right direction, right? And there's nothing wrong with researching. You haven't pulled the trigger on it, right? Nobody has your checking account routing and account number yet. Research ways that you can either further invest or more aggressively invest. Perform an audit of your checking account, right? We talk about how we run our household, and we're military, so we do stuff a little bit weirder than civilians do. Right? When Simon and I got married, he was very transparent, and he said, listen, this is the vision I have for our household. And one of those visions is I want to run it like a business in order to keep everything in order. This is long before we had a whole bunch of kids. But it was just a way, like, it'll just help him keep things in order because at the time he worked a lot. I think he worked 3 jobs at the time.
I was getting it in, y'all. But I was young, and days have come and gone.
So you want to do an audit of your checking account, right? That's my job here at the house. We go through the checking account. Simon and I go through it, and you do an audit of your spending. Now, that's a habit building thing. We still do it because we got used to doing it. But originally, when we started doing the audit of our checking account, it was to see the spending patterns, right? If you cannot make more money, spend less. Where can you spend less? Start with Amazon, ladies. Right? If there's a whole bunch of guys on here and y'all got wives and girlfriends and you're in some type of partnership with somebody, start with Amazon. You can spend less there. Okay. What type of miscellaneous spending are you doing? Are you an impetuous spender? So are you the type that's bored, goes out, goes window shopping, and has to buy something right now? A great tool for you to employ, and is one that we do. If I go, let's say, on Amazon and I see something that I absolutely love, the deal is if I wake up the next morning and that is the very first thing on my mind, I can go ahead and purchase that item.
Okay.
If I browse 100 items, 24 hours later, probably 98 of them are not on my mind the very next day. They just sit on that wish list. I don't need it. It's not something I need now. Maybe I'll get it later on, but it's not that important. There's probably only 2 items out of maybe 100 that it's like, I absolutely need this. We're going to get it.
And, you know, if you want to have some discipline, how about you guys, instead of going to Amazon, how about you guys go to atmex.com and browse over there? Okay. How about you browse on some you know, some 5 ounce, even if you want to be something fancy, you know, and get a nice 5 ounce, get a kilo bar if you want to go shopping. Go shopping on the precious metals market, please. Please.
That's a good idea. Cousin BK Crypto, boom, guess who stepped in the room? Coming from the Shaolin now. Well, he's in Brooklyn. He's not in Staten Island, but y'all get the idea. But cousin BK Crypto says stop the automatic payment subscriptions. Hulu, Netflix, HBO Plus, Paramount, Disney Plus, NBA League Pass.
It's the last game tonight,
right?
Y'all.
So the idea was a lot of people thought they were saving a significant amount of money by doing away with cable, right? And going to the streaming. It's going to be cheaper. I have access to all of these things. And then Netflix turned into like 25 different platform streams.
Yeah, and
it adds up.
It's nickel and diming you away. You know, people gonna come in. You know, our brothers, and we're gonna come in football season, so we gotta have the NFL. You know, the best NFL. I forget what it's called. The kids get an NFL ticket or something.
It's NFL ticket, I think.
And
now the good thing about the kids with League Pass is that they just get it for the finals, so I don't pay for it all year long.
Yeah.
Right. So they just get it and that's fine. Sean has a job now, and I think didn't Sean give you some money?
Mm-hmm.
So I think at the time he didn't have any in his checking account, so he gave his dad some money to use the card. But, you know, keep those things in mind. Simon and I, we don't watch any of that. We have it for the children. We have Disney, Netflix, and I think either Paramount or HBO Plus. I can't remember which one.
I'm pretty sure it's HBO Plus.
It's HBO Plus, yeah. So you don't need Hulu and all of that others. That's enough. And the Disney Plus is for the 2 little ones. Obviously Netflix for the little ones too. And HBO Plus for the older ones. So, you know, keep that in mind, or establish a budget for it, which is what Simon typically does, right? He bakes it into the budget that is the children's entertainment, and that's that. When you audit your checking account, you want to look at your expenses, right? So like your car notes, car insurance, school loans.
Oh, goodness.
Right? How much are you paying? What does the interest look like? If you owe the IRS money, that's another huge expenditure. And just kind of, because that's baked into your budget, but you want to keep an eye on those expenses when you're looking at your checking account. Y'all ready? How much do you eat out? Cousin Todd, the one, said Amazon and Rappi. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rappi in America, but Rappi for us is basically Uber Eats. But it does everything, right? So Rappi can deliver. If Simon forgot his water cooler at home and wanted it at work, I could give it to the Rappi guy to take it to Simon at work. So they have like an all-encompassing delivery system for people. Cousin Todd, I don't know if you know about this, but if you have to walk somewhere and you don't want to walk by yourself, you can get Rappi or Uber here and you get a walking buddy. And it comes with a little price. It's nuts.
Crazy.
Especially in Mexico City. I think the women are scared, but what if your walking buddy's a creep, right?
Yeah, went through
I think Cousin Todd would be tickled pink. I don't know if y'all have that in the United States, but Rappi and Uber have the walking buddy so that you don't have to walk around Mexico City by yourself.
And that's the thing, we don't use Rappi or Uber Eats because it's not available to us. But it adds money that you're spending.
Yeah, DoorDash
for what? For what?
To eat.
Well, I know to eat, but
consumption.
Consumption, okay, but I'm not trying to say laziness, but it just makes so that you don't have to get up and actually cook something. So you say, I'll just go ahead and order this or that.
And I will tell you, even though groceries are very expensive, the cost of groceries and actually cooking the meal is cheaper and hygienically safer, right? Because you always take a risk when you go out to eat. Than DoorDash, Rappi, eating out. But you definitely want to audit how much you eat out. Mama Simon, y'all, I cook 6 days a week and sometimes 7. So that's very important. We're a very large family. We're not too poor to eat out. We can't eat out, but I am one of those moms. I do love cooking. My sons always participate in the cooking process. It's a family thing that we do. It's one that we enjoy. Reginald and Sean are exceptional cooks. They could just cook the meal by themselves, but they do like when I'm down there with them. So you could even bake that into your routine to make it a family bonding thing, right? Teaching your sons, teaching your daughters how to cook, have them prep. They don't necessarily have to, make the ribs and the rib sauce for you, but you can teach them how to maybe julienne vegetables, how to dice onions or tomatoes, finding teaching moments. I'm sure Cousin Shango can speak to this, finding the teaching moments and establishing a cemented bond with your children in cooking and making that a routine. We used to work at the hospital, very long shifts, 6 o'clock in the morning till about 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And Simon and I had a tradition where we are going to sit as a family and have dinner. But even as young children, they were involved in helping to cook, and they thought it was fun. They had their little aprons, their little chef hats. And, they used to do little stuff like peel the onion, peel the garlic. They were really young back then.
Basic stuff.
But we made it a point. So you're not too busy to bake certain things into your routine. And it's good for the family. Eating out is a huge expense that people overlook. We talked about the subscriptions when you're doing your checking account audit. Can we think of anything else? I'm going to say, if there's a woman involved, clothes, shoes, hair, and nails. Those are huge expenditures. Is there somewhere where that can be cut back? Right. Now they have these great ways where you can do your own acrylics at home, right? It's this little tube. It has the guide. You press it down. You let it dry. You put it under UV light. You let it dry. And it saves you $100 to $300 for the full set. I'm missing 2. I have to go get mine done tomorrow. But here, when I go get my nails done, it's $10 US. Doesn't cost anything here. And very often I will do my own nails.
And Black people, and I'm sorry, we're not trying to bang on you women because you guys are 80% of the consumers. Conspicuous consumption. You got to talk about that. All this conspicuous consumption, people like to wear their wealth and stuff like that. That's a killer. That's a killer. I just watched a video this morning of a very efficient product. Sorry, y'all, I can't speak.
Productivity?
Yeah, he's into productivity. He's efficient. I'm sorry, man.
Who is he?
I can't remember his name, but white guy, real sharp, clean cut, take care of. But what he was saying.
Oh, when he was talking about outsourcing, gotcha. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he was talking about outsourcing, but he also was talking about wearing a uniform.
Yes.
Like it's kind of wearing the same, whatever you do, just kind of wearing the same clothes. And so that's one less decision you have to make.
And you would be shocked, especially women. Y'all know how long it takes for us to kind of put an outfit together in our mind. Do it match our purse? Do we have the belt to go with the shoes and all of that other stuff? So believe it or not, I do have a uniform. I have the same kind of type of outfits. It makes it easy too if my husband wants to buy me a gift.
Yep.
It makes it easy for him to pick out stuff for me to wear. He picked out this nice tank top, keep me cool, and some tights. So like I don't wear jeans or anything like that, but I do wear a lot of dresses.
Yeah, so having a uniform, not even having to think about what you're gonna wear tomorrow. It's same old, right? Same old. If you got some different things, if you got to switch it up and do something, have a meeting, so you got your suit or whatever.
And you guys notice that the Deca millionaires, they do that, right? So Gary Vee, that's his uniform. It's going to be, to me, it feel like a Walmart t-shirt, but I'm not sure. Shout out to Gary Vee. And some jeans, right? Y'all know Mark Zuckerberg wears a Facebook blue blank t-shirt and jeans. You know that Jeff Bezos wore the white button down with the top open. And I think he wore like slacks. Now that he's retired, I'm not sure, how he dresses. He's got a girlfriend and everything. Yeah. But you'll notice even Michael Saylor, he wears that black dress shirt. And I think jeans, right? Or black slacks.
Those are black dress pants.
Yeah. Right? So as soon as you see them, you kind of know, like that's their uniform. And when they tell you when they get that high, they have to make impactful decisions. So they don't allow those little mundane decisions to weigh them down. But back to auditing your checking account, clothes. How often do you buy clothes? How do you have clothes in your closet that you probably should give away to make room for the clothes you keep buying? Is it an expenditure that you can pull back on so that you can allot more money towards your investment endeavors?
Yes, that is big.
Right. I always suggest when you do your checking account audit, you should have a pack of highlighters, right? Yellow being your actual bills, right? The things that are important to the household.
And family, please. I hate to do this, but we have to do this. Definitely be auditing the little charges that your bank may throw in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That aren't real. Boy, be watching out for those.
We get a lot of currency exchange fees, point of sale exchange fees. Cousin Todd, you can definitely speak to it when you come here to Mexico. So all of they're like 40 cents, 72 cents. But when I add it all up, sometimes it'll add up $30, $40 for the month.
And you got to make sure everything is true.
Yeah.
If you just, you have a little gap sometime and you don't watch your account, you got direct deposit, they hit you with that $35 fee, Wells Fargo, and you got to watch those, call and see if they're, all valid. So just be careful with the banks.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of them removed because they're not valid.
Yeah, the banks make billions of dollars a year just on overdraft fees.
And it's not easy to get an overdraft fee removed. It's like there's money in the account. You just hit me with an overdraft fee because you used to hit people with the overdraft to take it off. I'm like, oh, we're sorry. We're so sorry. But I feel like it's if they catch it, then we'll take it off. But if not, so you definitely want to keep your eye for that. You want to keep your eye for obviously spending that looks strange to you, right? And fraud alerts, you're able to turn your card off, those things. But have a pack of highlighters. The yellow highlighters should be your actual expenses that are critical to the household, right? The electricity, the water, the car, the car insurance. Yes, it is critical to the household. Don't drive without car insurance. They lock people up for that in certain states, maybe every state now. Your house note and so on and so forth. And then you can pick the other colors to designate your, miscellaneous spending and so on and so forth. And then look at the pattern, right? So you're creating your own line chart in a sense at a glance. And if you see, let's say pink is miscellaneous spending and eating out. your 3-4 pages for the month are nothing but pink, then you know you have some work to do. Mm-hmm. Right? And the first step is to be able to identify it. And once you identify it, then you can acknowledge it. And then once you're able to acknowledge it, now you can establish a plan and say, even if I just did half of the spending, right? I'm not asking you to go cold turkey if you have a spending issue, but even if you said, if I took half of this money, I can put it towards Bitcoin or precious metals or whatever altcoin I'm into, in a way to preserve for the future. So it's delaying something right now in order to have a great gain in the future. Yes. Right? So that should be on your Q3. And you should, if in Q3, it would be a great idea. I'm suggesting that maybe you audit the entire quarter too, instead of just the last month. Mm-hmm. Right? So what did your spending look like from April 1st to June 30th? Mm-hmm. And it might be some stark revelations in that spending.
Yeah, and also, unfortunately for people who may still celebrate the holidays, some people do still celebrate, some people don't. You'll see an excess of spending in that area.
Around the holidays, he's right. How much did you spend on Father's Day? How much are you going to spend for that barbecue on 4th of July? How much are you going to spend for the Juneteenth barbecue here on Wednesday, or actually this weekend? Likely Wednesday, because a lot of people do have it off, but a lot of people still don't. Are you going to celebrate Wednesday and this weekend, right? How much does that cost you? Entertainment.
And especially going into like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Black Friday, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of money.
Where they're encouraging you to spend. Valentine's Day, sweetest day for my Midwesterners. How much money are you spending to be involved in this trend? We don't even celebrate Christmas anymore. As big as the family is, we don't celebrate it anymore, right? There's no tree, none of that. Even though we have a little one, talk to the little one about it. He's good. He gets stuff all the time. It's the time for us. We just kind of have a nice meal prepared, but we're not moving into the economical rhetoric of buying a whole bunch of stuff. And if you don't give somebody something, now it breeds resentment. We ain't in all of that. So you can also, this is his domain, right? This is his kingdom. And he says, this is what we're not doing. There's nothing you guys want for, but we don't have to eat into that. Now, what he will do is take, if there's a bonus or anything like that, and put it towards the children's inheritances, which is typically their precious metals.
That's their stuff. And, by that, I even let them pick some stuff out that they think is cool. Some of the things that they
and they're all for it. They don't even miss it. They're for it
because they got everything, and then we'll buy them anything they need. And mostly it's sports related, or some clothes or some sneakers.
Yeah,
a new basketball.
So to them, it's like that's cool. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah. And you don't have to feed into all of the stuff that go on in the United States, right? They want to, program you that if you don't do this, something's wrong with you or it's weird. Children, we do not do Halloween. We haven't done Halloween in a long time. No. They know their mama think it's demonic, and I ain't about to spend no money on no demonic stuff. And it's crazy
because when I was coming up, I when the kids were younger, so maybe the first two. And maybe
the first two did, but the second two.
And the second one. The third one, a little bit. But I used to pride myself on seeing how many gifts I could put under the tree.
Oh, yeah, for Christmas.
I used to pride myself on that.
And how much money we used to spend on that. And the decorations and this and that. But since we got to Mexico, Simon said, you know what, babe? You always talking to me about the Bible. I said, I was already telling you we're not going to participate in it. That is not God's holy day. It's a holiday. It's Saturday. Yeah, we're not going to do it. And I'm not shaming anybody if you guys do it, but just understand that you can establish your own policy in your household for your gain, for your benefit, and not theirs. Because that is part of a wealth transfer. And they always talk about, we got to get the economy. People aren't spending. They're not spending. And the they have a name, the volition of the dollar.
Money velocity.
Money velocity, thank you. Mm-hmm. The money velocity isn't turning, and we need people to spend and spend and spend. Right? you guys give money to who you want to give money to, but you need us to spend. No. And you're noticing a lot of people are holding the pocketbook, right? So definitely audit your checking account.
Yeah.
If you guys need help with tips, right? You don't have to give us any personal information or anything like that.
Okay.
But if you need tips or guidance in order to get your plan established, again, free of charge, we'll FaceTime you, we'll talk it through and get you going in the right direction. But definitely work to run your home like a business. Take the time to learn a little bit of business 101, right? Learning something new is fantastic. And what in that business 101 can you bake or implement into your household? And one of them should be to monitor the expenses and the income, right? Really monitor it. You know, many people just use their debit card. There's money on there.
Yeah. Use it till it don't work.
Right? There's money on there. I'm going to use it. And then you have people who put their debit card in the machine and it's $2.63 in their checking account, right? So we want to kind of come away from some of the bad habits that have been developed over time. So that's the auditing of the checking account. What was, there was just one last thing and we got to wrap this up, babe.
Okay. Yeah.
Simon has a great.
Oh, I'll do that another one because that might take a while.
Another day? Yeah. We can do it on Wednesday.
Wednesday or Friday.
Okay. Did you want to do this one? No.
I was thinking about it, but because he's basically saying the same thing. Buy Bitcoin. Michael Saylor, his advice is buy more Bitcoin as the price goes down, and you can see from the chart it makes sense, right? Because Bitcoin went down on this date last year. Buy more Bitcoin. It was only 26,000. Now look what it is. So imagine what it's going to be June 17th, 2025.
Imagine what's going to be 2030.
So just buy more Bitcoin. If you got a little something on the sidelines, go ahead and grab it.
Yeah, definitely. But find ways to find that money in order to aggressively save and make goals or rewards for not clawing back the money if you have what we call a shortfall. If you guys are going to be monitoring your checking accounts, which is a really, really good idea, you want to also monitor how often do I have a shortfall from payday to payday? How big is the shortfall? Right? So that you can start turning things around so that maybe your Bitcoin maybe you have a portion of your portfolio which helps to mitigate that shortfall. And you're not dealing in, I don't think anybody here is, but just in case, you're not dealing in payday loans. You're not dealing in those high interest, I just got to make it for the next couple of days and then paying it back at a ridiculous interest rate.
Yeah, that doesn't seem so bad up front, but
on the back end, after a while, it can be a problem. And a lot of people have trouble with the payday, the checking.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Payday loans. Thank you. With the payday loans. You definitely want to, start examining those things. The last thing I'm going to talk about is trying to kind of dwindle down your debt. I don't know what your debt looks like, but there's a young lady, she was on Mel's podcast. She has a tag name. She has like a name. It's going to come to me. I hope.
Now you never remember none of your sources.
I know. I have seizures, y'all. But it's not, this isn't my idea. She was on Mel Robbins' podcast. And she had a great idea. And there's a lot of banks that are now kind of picking up. I don't know if they got it from her, but they're picking up this concept.
Okay.
And the concept is if you have a significant amount of debt, you maybe list the debt from the smallest to the largest. Right? So let's say credit card 1, credit card 2, credit card 3, credit card 4. So credit card 1 is going to have the smallest amount that you owe. Credit card 4 is going to have the largest. And what you're doing is you are putting your money into like a different account in a sense, saving it up in a sense. And once you get that balance, you pay that balance off. But you're already used to saving that money.
Okay.
right? So now you start that over again, pay off credit 2, pay off credit 3, pay off credit 4. Okay. It takes a substantial amount of time. And the problem is it doesn't take that long to rack up debt. It takes a significant amount of time to pay it off. And this is why we talk about that low time preference. Yes. But it can be done. Mm-hmm. So they have a lot of lenders now where instead of debt consolidation with a loan, okay, what they're doing is they take your money, put it into a special savings account, which you know that they are likely getting all of the good interest from, right? Because they're holding large amounts of capital. And once they'll negotiate the debt down for you, right? So you never have to pay back the total debt. They'll negotiate it down. And once that savings account has the number, let's say they negotiated 25,000 down to 17,000. Once that savings account hits that $17,000 mark, then that debt's paid off. And you start all over again with debt number 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. And I think they typically start with the smallest amount because once you achieve that, you feel good and you're ready to take on the next one. Okay. You don't have to let these banks make money off of you. Okay, understood. You can do the same thing. Right? We're hodlers of Bitcoin, but if you needed to use your Bitcoin to help you pay off the debt, then that's just a deflationary tool that you used in order to pay the debt off. Yep. And almost like more than a match program, right? As it grows, it's like, oh, it just helped a lot. Yeah. I only put in $50, but then, over the course of time, I look at $72. Yeah. So yeah, and rate adjusted, you see that go over. Keep in mind those tactics if you have to pay down debt. And the best way to not incur debt is to not incur debt. Right? You don't need 5, 6 credit cards. You don't have to play into the credit system. Maybe have one for emergencies, but you have to be disciplined in how you utilize credit. Mm-hmm. If it's something you don't need right now, do not use your credit card for it. Do the 24-hour rule. If it's a credit card, I'm going to tell you do the 72-hour rule. Yeah. If this thing isn't on your mind for 3 days in a row, don't use your credit card to buy it. I hear people often tell me that they use their credit card for experiences. Right? We put $7,000 down on this all-inclusive sandals vacation and got the works. And now that 7,000, just imagine at 28.99% because your credit's already shaky, how much you owe on the 7,000. And it's like, it's great that you had that experience, but now that it's taking you 5 years to pay back an experience you only had in 3 days or 5 days, was it worth it? And maybe it is. Maybe it's a lifetime memory, but I don't feel so. Yeah, so it's up to you. Yeah, so I mean, she pretty much broke it down. That's about all we have for today. I wanted to read the last few comments, see if everybody was cool. So Cousin Todd didn't know about the walking buddy, so he's going to try one to get some pastor tacos when you're back in Mexico. Yeah. A lot of Americans are scared to use the walking buddy because they're worried that the walking buddy doesn't speak English. And then, the walking buddies are probably just as intimidated because they'll be scared that they'll get an English speaker and their English is, so it's very awkward. Cousin Todd said the USAA is good with returning fees. Yeah, because they're all for military members. They're not trying to. They're still a bank, right? Don't be fooled. They're still a bank, but they are good at returning fees. Wells Fargo and Chase, not so much. Cousin Adam likes Palladium. Are you a Palladium fan? Cryptonomics, he's not on here today, but I think Cryptonomics is into platinum as well as gold and silver, or is it copper? Well, I don't know why you like. We've done a show, or we did a show, but man, baby, my memory terrible. I gotta write everything down. It might have been a couple months ago, but we were talking about palladium and the use of it. It has a secondary use. Yeah, it had an industrial use, EV vehicles and things like that, and the batteries. So, especially how the U.S. gets those social credits. So it's going to be on the rise, palladium. Yeah, I think they use the palladium in the processors for the electric vehicle, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So it's probably a really good thing to look into because of its secondary industry use.
Yes, indeed.
This is not financial advice, we're just speculating. All right, cousins, at the height of the show, we have 42 people in the room. We now have 39. It's an hour and 34 minutes. We want to thank you guys so much for your love and your support. This isn't the type of show that we're going to have 3 million views. It's just too much discipline involved in the show. And a lot of people don't want that responsibility. So, if you guys are able to, we never sell you anything, but we are asking you to like and share the content. We do have some of our experiences here in Mexico on our YouTube channel. I'm going to ask you guys to go through the channel. Sometimes the stuff's in the videos and sometimes the stuff is in the live. So definitely kind of check those two areas out when you go on our YouTube channel, and you can see the Airbnbs we stay in, some of our market adventures, some of our food adventures. I show you how great the prices are in comparison to many of the local economies and cities in the United States. So if you can support us that way, Simon and I are working on the Assets and Arbitrage Life Portfolio Series. It is going to be the extended flag theory. So in this sense, we are coming out a book to help you guys with your intentional travel, with your planning to leave the United States. Many of you have questions and want to explore the idea of that. Yes. So we are providing a resource. It is the one thing that will be on sale, but we're not going to press y'all to buy it, but we just want to make that resource available for you guys. Simon Family Investment Ventures is going to create what we call a life portfolio series. So a lot of our content will be detailed in a resource book for you to have, a tangible item for you to have. Definitely like 12-week year and productivity and discipline and stuff like that will be in the next book. We'll be doing a book on neuroeconomics and some other books, but this will be the first of many in a series to just help you guys in navigating the global world we live in. Many of you feel trapped in the cities you live in. Yeah. You feel trapped in the state you live in. You feel trapped in the financial state that you're in, right? Pun intended. So the extended 5 flag theory addresses a theory that's already, I can't remember his name now. I'm not doing good today. I had
okay. And Andrew Henderson.
But the other guy too.
Okay, so.
Matter of fact, his name right here because the book's on here. But we extend that. This Andrew Henderson.
Yeah, so Andrew Henderson has a 5 flag.
Schultz.
Okay, yeah, Schultz does a 3.
I think it's Henry Schultz. He does 3. Andrew has 5. And we're going to extend that theory. I got the manuscript there on my computer. But we're just going to discuss things that you need to have your head on a swivel about, things you need to consider when moving to another country, and some other, education, family. Many of you do want to travel with children. Safety. Understanding banking and staking your money when you're applying for residency and citizenship and a variety of other questions that many of you do have when you're trying to explore cybersecurity for the digital nomads, et cetera, et cetera. So that book will be finished before the end of quarter 3. It is a major objective of quarter 3. And we hope that it's a resource that serves you guys well. Truly, we've been working on it for a while. Cousin Todd said, dope discussion, dope lesson. Let Freedom Ring said this was a great show. It was very informative. We're just asking you guys to like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share the content. I know many of your family members, they're just not into it. Our family members aren't either. Right? Y'all my cousins, but notice that none of my real blood cousins are in the chat. Nomad Capitalist. Not sure about Schultz. Well, Schultz started it and Andrew extended it. But one cat I really listened to who got me taking it seriously is Vagabond Awake. I'm not familiar with Vagabond Awake. Flag Theory.
Oh, okay.
So we will be extending on the two. I think his name is Henry Schultz.
Yeah.
I have to go back into my manuscript. But you guys have a great evening. We hope you had a wonderful weekend. We hope that you celebrated the fathers in your life that made a difference. We need our men, ladies. We need them, and they need us. So we want to establish a community that is grateful and appreciative of one another. We want to kill all of that internet bullshit.
And so be ready. Coming back to you on Wednesday. It's gonna be Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. So we'll have a happy Juneteenth celebration. We got a Juneteenth show with a great breakdown.
Oh boy.
From my beautiful wife.
I did a presentation because they overlooked it at my organization.
Got a nice presentation that just so we can get a quick
historical walk down history aisle. But we're also going to continue our conversation about establishing your own economic policies, empowering yourself to change the things that feel overwhelming. The last thing I'm going to say before we do Mamba out is the economy is in a bad way. And it's not by accident. A lot of the manipulation, they like it that way because it incites fear and uncertainty. And when people feel empowered, when people feel confident, when people are happy, it's hard to control them. It is hard to psychologically manipulate them. It's difficult to get them to vote in elections, right? Because they'll have this, what I like to call euphoric indifference, right? My life is good. I don't care who the president is, right? And you'll notice that around election time, the economy is always shaky, right?
It's up in upheaval.
They want that dependency. They want we gotta figure something out because we don't know what we're gonna do. They want to control you. They want to manipulate you, and you want to come out of that cycle. Right. And we know here in the crypto space, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, is what drives people away from Bitcoin. You don't want to demonstrate that in a way, too, because you kind of don't know what to do. So it's very important that we talk about how we can empower our households individually, collectively, in order to create deflationary conditions in the household. Are y'all going to Nacimiento in northern Mexico where the Mexicans celebrate Juneteenth? No. I don't like being in groups. Too much stupid stuff happens. But it's nice that they celebrate Juneteenth. Is there a lot of Black people there? I'm sure Oaxaca's going to have something too. And Tulum.
Okay.
And Tulum. And also, you guys would be shocked. Like, when we see Black people here, they turn their whole head.
Like they can't see.
And we're a whole family, y'all. When the 6 of us, y'all can see, and some of y'all who are on our Facebook page, we can barely fit everybody in the frame of the picture. So to see 6, and it's really 3 grown men.
Yeah.
Me, Junior, and Tino, right? So, I mean, Reggie's 6 feet tall. It's like, turn their whole head. They don't speak. They're not friendly. They're not warm. They're not welcoming. And then when we have these get-togethers, they want to be like fake and superficial. So I'm not really feeling the travelers that come. I don't know why we're like that. No other race does that. If a Jewish person travels to another country where they're typically no Jews, let's say they go to Kenya and they run into another Jewish person, they're going to be so happy to see one another. If an Asian person sees another Asian person in the hood of Oakland, right? They are happy to see each other. But when we see each other, we turn the other way. It's bad. He said they're Seminoles. They're the descendants of Black Americans. I'm going to look it up, though. I'm interested in hearing about it. But Simon and I, we typically don't. We tried to for the first 3 years. We were trying to do all of the Black events and travel. And it's a very odd, unwelcoming, we're not proud of ourselves feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't need to be in that type of environment. Stay my little butt on the mountain. But we love y'all so much. We are so glad that you guys are benefiting from the information. This is Simon's baby. This is his dream. This is his vision. This is what he wants to put out there as his philanthropic service, something free that's worth a lot. And he wants to give his time and his expertise to it. So we love you guys, and we'll see you Wednesday, 7-ish.
Keep stacking.
Mamba out. Do that audit. Mamba out. I never have the little end stream button.